If you happen to be logged on here tonight, onto this channel, you've reached Hope Talk, bold and unapologetic, a place where hope has a home. We invite you tonight to join us on our podcast. This is a live broadcast coming from Cape Town, South Africa, for those of you who are watching abroad. And we would like you to be a part of this conversation here tonight, a very critical one though. And we would ask that you do give your input. Comment, like, and do share on our page because it helps us to get the message even further, far and abroad. So sit back, be a part of it, and we welcome you here tonight. I have a guest with me online, and tonight my guest is going to share with us some real stuff tonight that I think we need to know about and be made aware of. That's happening in our own city. We're passionate about what is happening here, and we would love to see a transformation. But transformation doesn't come without the truth. So welcome once again to Hope Talk, where we are bold and unapologetic. Well, good evening, AB. Good to have you tonight on Hope Talk. And our tagline is bold and unapologetic. So, yeah, we are just excited tonight to hear from you how things are panning out, in this part of the city. So we've been working together at some point, and then for a number of years, I would imagine, and then, of course, I changed vocation from full-time ministry, moved out of Mitchell's Plain in another area close by, and that's when our sort of working together just came to I don't think it is an abrupt end. It was just on pause. I believe it's on pause. So, but we still are passionate about it. We've covered a lot of ground together during that time. So AB Isaacs is very conversant with lots of stuff that has to do with crime and criminality, and also speaking into the situation that others are not very clued up about. So this is not hearsay tonight that we're going to hear. These are the facts. I have a video also that I would like to show in just a while AB, ask AB just to greet you all and to introduce himself to us tonight. AB, up to you.
Yeah. Good evening to you and your viewers. I'm AB Isaacs. I'm the chairperson of the Cape Flat Safety Forum. The Cape Flat Safety Forum, we started off in 2014 already. So we've been around. Yes, we are. In terms of our mandate, we look at safety and security and also development, part of a developmental agenda. That is our passion as the Cape Flat Safety Forum.
All right. Thank you, AB. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I thought it would be a good idea for me just to play this video, and it's trending. It's trending since it was broadcast live at some point about a month ago. So sit back, watch this video, because this is where we are headed.
Mitchell's Plain is under siege. We don't have to switch on Netflix. We love gun violence, we eat gun violence, and we sleep gun violence in Mitchell's Plain. 2017, 15 SAPS issue guns was stolen at this Mitchell's Plain. Don't tell me it went missing. Stolen.
The detectives in Mitchell's Plain, pathetic. Pathetic because they don't investigate properly.
And if we are not going to move in a faster space, Mr. Minister, more blood is going to flow on the streets of Mitchell's Plain.
The objective of being here today is to listen to you. I do not know. You know more than I do about the problems in Mitchell's Plain?
Currently on the Cape Flats, we have urban terror. The Cape Flats is under siege. The leadership needs to answer us to say whether there is an intelligence hit in this province, yes or no.
We need to go on the offensive against the drug lords, stabilize our communities, make sure that we are in charge, our people are in charge, not the criminals. But the plan we need to defeat the gangs, I don't believe that plan is yet in place.
Where I live, 27 Pellaposter drug houses. God weet, I don't know when they have been searched and engaged. And you say to me that you are fighting crime? Excuse me? You're driving up and down. Gang units, they're driving up and down as if they are visitors from overseas. Here God, lekker vir hulle verdwaal. They don't even bloody hell know where they are.
What is your plan of action? What is your solution for Mitchell's Plain? And the reason I'm asking that is that your oath is to serve and protect us. Right now in Mitchell's Plain, it is not happening.
That girl of mine, she was my best child. She was never a nuisance of nothing. She just, and she got have the best smile you ever have. She, I can't tell you where she was good. May God bless her. We in Towers of Mitchell's Plain. One of the guys who knew me was here. He was looking for me around where I was staying. That was about 11. That time he come tell me, my daughter is laying there in the bush there in the reserve. I went to there and they want to stop me. They said, no, I'm the father. And they said, now I must go see if my daughter was laying there. I always see something here. Was a hole here by the side of a throat here. I think it was a cut of something was put in there. But I got the address, she was laying on the right hand side. And I leave her only with the pin, with the bra, naked, or taking all the clothes off. She was laying there. And I thought, if I remember, but somebody said they put the stick up in the private parts. Oh, I was shaking. I can't explain. It was very difficult for me. There was a lot of story about what that I can't say what is happened, but they stabbed a boyfriend, the father of a child, and I think 7 shots they stabbed him, and then he ran away. While he ran away, they said, no, don't worry, we're going to take her home. And that time he got over there to tell his mother, they take Clay. They started raping her from that house up to around here to in the bush. And there were 6 of them. The bigger part of everything is the people who done that to her knew her. They grow up together. They must rotten in jail. There's a lot of cases before this, and most of that guys who was in murder cases or rape cases walk free today. They wasn't off, and the talker disappear, and another thing that the detectives didn't do their job right, and they walk free. Now, what will happen to my child? I want justice for my child. They must get life in prison. They mustn't come out again because they take my loved one away from me. It's my daughter. And the way how they brutal, killing brutal, it was not even you kill a dog like that. Now justice must be. And the police and the Detectives who investigate this case, they must do their job right. Tomorrow it happen to somebody else kid because nobody do something. I just want justice for my child.
Sure, AB. That is sad, eh? And this is happening. This is happening on our watch while you and I are sleeping. It's happening to our people out here in our communities. Broad daylight. In just yesterday, a couple of days ago. You know what? Again, I'm alarmed and I'm shocked at the statistics. I don't have everything at my fingertips, but what I do receive in bits and pieces, it's actually shocking. It's shocking. I want us to speak into this tonight, AB, without, making apologies for anything, because we are facing this daily, and our children are growing up, and our grandchildren are growing up with this kind of news and this kind of environment, and man, it's actually just gotten worse, and it's just getting worse and worse, and I don't know if it will ever end. I've been watching the Maglanda Commission and the SAPS ad hoc committee, and my God, sure. To hear what's happening there, and the lies and all the other stuff, that fabricated information that is being provided when people are being questioned. And how do they get there? How do they get there to occupy these prominent roles? Sure, my brother. Talk to us tonight. Talk to us. You on the ground, you boots on the ground, and I know that you have something to say to us all here tonight. So, Mr. Isaacs, talk to us, please.
Firstly, thank you for the opportunity to be on the show, and for allowing us as the Cape Flats Safety Forum this space to send the message across. I think let me start off by saying that the Cape Flats is currently under siege, and when we say that we don't switch on Netflix to hear gunshots, we don't have to switch on Netflix to observe or to see that the blood are flowing down the streets. We don't have to switch on Netflix to hear where communities are crying another drive-by shooting. One person has been shot. 3 people has been shot. 1 person has been stabbed. A mother has been raped. A daughter had been raped. And as we've been saying as the Cape Flats Safety Forum, and in terms of my interview, in terms of the opening part, is that I have been the former chairperson of the Community Policing Forum, and I think that is where we got to meet each other.
Yes, sir.
And we, from our side, myself, is a founder member of the Cape Flats Safety Forum. We started the Cape Flats Safety Forum, as I said, in 2014 already. But however, in the same vein, I was on the Community Policing Forum. So it would be conflict of interest, because the mandate of the Community Policing Forum is totally different than a normal NGO or an NPO. Right. So in terms of that one, I then indicated, because, and I said to myself, I'm only going to do that term. So 2019, our term came to an end. We decided, let's push and let's continue to build this brand called the Cape Flats Safety Forum. Because remember, as I said, it would have been conflict of interest. Are you the CPF? Today, 2 minutes later, you're the Cape Flats Safety Forum. It becomes conflict of interest, if one can put it that way. But in the same way, we need to find a way where we can push the same narrative. Because as I said, in terms of the Community Policing Forum, there are limitations. In terms of that one, there's a closer relationship between yourself as the community leg and the South African Police Services. You need to build that partnership. And from time to time, it would be difficult to make arrogant, unpopular statements or media statements or press releases, because you need to go and ask your partner in the same type of a marriage situation. You cannot just go and buy a cool drink without consulting with your partner. You know, I want to bring it to that analogy. We then decided, no, let's go out and let's push the particular narrative. And we then formulated the Cape Flats Safety Forum, as I said, 2014, and we've got five key pillars that we look at. And the 5 key pillars is women, children, people with disability, youth, and seniors. And why we focused on those particular 5 key areas? Because those are the most vulnerable within our society. The most vulnerable, and if you look at it, and I'm coming back, that what we've picked up for the past couple of months, there has been an increase in terms of women in particular that became the victims of crime, in particular to gang shootings. That's what we picked up. So it becomes important that we need to fill that space. We need to fill that gap as a structure. You alluded to, as the host, that you don't have the stats. Just earlier on, somebody asked me, in my capacity as the Cape Flats Safety Forum chairperson, the stats for the last 2 weeks. I could not give the person the stats for the last 2 weeks, but I could give the person the stats for the last 3 months. And over the last 3 months, 700 murders directly related to gang violence, directly related to firearms. 700 murders.
Wow.
And the person have asked asked me that information because they're engaging tomorrow with a panel that's currently happening at the G20. So that's the space where we're trying to push particular narratives, also our view. And when we come to the Cape Flats in particular, when we say we don't switch on Netflix, we don't hear switch on Netflix, we don't watch Netflix, is a daily harsh reality. The fact of the matter is that the Cape Flats is under siege, is literally under siege. And you cannot say that you begin to stabilize one area, then it pops up in another area. It's the same way that you put a lid on here with intention, there's no air is going to escape. Air is escaping. So
Right.
from our side as the Cape Flats Safety Forum, hence we've been unpopular in our position. That I've been saying, we viewed the escalating in terms of crime violence, specifically when it comes to gang violence over this particular period. We are calling for the SANDF to be deployed as a force multiplier. And when you say a force multiplier, yes, we do understand that the South African Defence Force have a different mandate than the South African Police Services.
Right.
When we say that, as a force multiplier, remember, in terms of arrest, is the police's responsibility.
Right.
So they would come in and act as a buffer to the South African Police Services. We had it in 2019, we had it over COVID. And during the COVID period, it's what we called a state of emergency, state of disaster was declared nationally. So the president could enact the South African Defence Force to be deployed as a force multiplier. Therefore, you had your regulations in terms of your certain levels of lockdown. 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you must be in. I'm just using that as an example.
Yes.
But clearly, we could during that particular period, there was a massive reduction in crime. So that's one element that we need to look into. Then we've also observed over the period from our side, 2022, there was a particular finding from a judge, what we call the Judge Tulare report. The judge then, there was a case happening at the High Court where the judge then found that there were gang elements infiltrating the South African Police Services. The South African Police Services that technically supposed to look at our safety. The premier of this Western Cape, and here we're not playing politics, and we are a political organization, but we need to put facts and put facts to the reality. The premier was sitting with that report. He then appointed the ombudsman, October, December 2022, ourselves as the Cape Flats Safety Forum, we went to go protest in front of the Provincial Commissioner's office. 16 December, everybody's on holiday. It's a public holiday, and everybody's on holiday preparing for your Christmas, your New Year. We took a particular decision that we're going to protest. There's no holiday for us. We're going to protest at the Provincial Commissioner's office. And to raise the same particular area, there's a finding at the High Court. Please investigate. The Premier then appointed the Ombudsman 3 years later. Ironically, after some political pressure or pressure from certain streams within society, the Premier released a report last week, which exactly echoes what Judge Tulare is saying. So we're sitting with something bigger that's happening. Then we also need to look at what's happening at is what we call the ad hoc committee. From our side as the Cape Flats Safety Forum, we are clear about it. The ad hoc committee itself is about political point scoring. One political party wants to come across better than the other political party for point scoring for 2026. We need to acknowledge that we're moving into election period. It's what we call the silly period, and it's electioneering now. So political parties will come and play nice words and even use spin doctors, what I call spin doctors, on that one. So that's in terms of the ad hoc committee. That's it. Then we look at the other Madlanga Commission. The Madlanga Commission, from our side, we believe that would be the step in the right direction to determine whether SAPS at the national level. Remember, I've unpacked the Judge Tulare report. The Judge Tulare report only zoomed into the Western Cape. Here, a national commissioner on July 16th, I'm not sure the date, Lieutenant General Makonazi, a provincial commissioner from KZN, echoing what Judge Tulare just said 2 years ago, but he's coming now and saying it's national. It's no longer, and this is how we analyze it, it's no longer, this infiltration is no longer located just at the Western Cape level. It's now at the national level. And you will see that at the Madlanga Commission, people are starting to say what's happening. We've been saying, as the Cape Flats Safety Forum, we've been saying that time already. And I think when I made the statement, we've been saying it when we were still on the CPF. There's something sinister happening. When we were on the CPF, and I think there were some times that we briefed your pastor to say, there's something not happening. And it takes us back. You look at that, you look at the Judge Tulare report, you look at the Madlanga Commission, you look at the ad hoc committee. Same period, and one needs to look at dates. 2017, firearms stolen out of Mitchells Plain. 2023, firearms again. And 2023, firearms that were stolen out of Mitchells Plain is what we call exhibit firearms. It's firearms that were used to execute or to commit a particular crime.
Right.
That's the exhibit firearms. Stolen, yes, it's gone through the process. From what we understood at this stage, some people have been criminally charged. But in the same way, these things are happening while the Cape Flats is under siege. While Mitchells Plain, for an example, is under siege. And I'm just using Mitchells Plain. 2017, 23 firearms missing. That's Mitchells Plain. That same month, memory serves, and I don't want to use figures, but the principle is Bellville South, also an amount of firearms stolen. And at Bellville South, the difference was that were higher caliber of firearms that got stolen. What purely just happened, the station commander, which is ultimately responsible for the effective functioning of the station, was just shifted from one area, from one station to the other station.
Right.
So those are the fundamental things that we need to look into. Then we also need to acknowledge, whilst we have this happening, the Premier then, with his first term, he came up with this brilliant idea, what we call the Western Cape Safety Plan. It was for his term period, I think it's 2014, 20 to 2019. From the word go, we said, this is a political plan. Subsequently, he was elected, he gone through the term. The plan miserably failed. Last year, with the run-up to the provincial elections, funding were used from two critical departments, education and another department, education and health, to push into a safety plan. Again, nothing has happened. We don't see the difference.
Yeah.
And now we also need to look at when, and again, we when I say we are not politicians, and we don't, I'm no politician. We look at the same time when the same premier who took 3 years to release a particular report is the same premier that has been calling for devolution of power
Sure. Yeah.
during that period. Come on, rather tell me upon the Merwe joke, then one would start believing. But
Of course.
pushing for devolution of power, holding on to report, after public outcry, you release a report. Something's not telling right for me. And again, I'm saying this with the utmost respect. I'm just an ordinary citizen that can start, as I say, putting the sequence of events.
Wow.
When we say the crime is totally out of control, I've just alluded to the amount of murders that we had within the Cape Flats. And when we speak the Cape Flats, that includes your colored areas. Let me be honest.
Right.
Let's not put, and it's not being racist. And then
Right.
there's two other particular areas, which is Nyanga and Kailicha. But the harsh reality, it falls within the metro of it's a metro within the broader Western Cape. So when we look at crime, we look at it in a two-phase approach. We normally put this position, we have a city of two tales. And when we unpack the city of two tales, 300 murders on the Cape Flats, where the majority is the most vulnerable community, the disadvantaged community.
Right.
But compare that 3 months, 300 stats, 3 months stats to your areas, your leafy areas. And when I say your leafy areas, the other side of the M5, your Constantia, put your Constantia, your Milnertons, your big areas, your leafy areas, put that together and see the amount and start doing a comparison in terms of the amount of murders over that same period. So what does it say? There's more emphasis and energy being put into place, yet in the same vein, that people within the Constantius, within your hout base, the leafy hout base, let me say the leafy, there's the two hout base, within the leafy hout base, your Constantia people have security. Now, let me start internally. They have an alarm system. They have electric fence. They have CCTV. They have private security patrolling up and down. On the Cape Flats, because it's the most working class, cannot even afford to have the houses, within the houses, a CCTV or an alarm system. Cannot afford that alarm system. So those, when we say we need to be able to unpack the city of two tales.
Sure.
You go into Sea Point. Yes, it's a hub. You go into Sea Point, you see the amount of police or the amount of law enforcement agencies being deployed in that particular area versus a Mitchell's Plain with a bigger geographical area. It's use the same geographical area and start comparing. So those are the harsh realities. Coming back to what we've been saying is that that the Cape Flats is under siege, that daily you go frequently. There's no certain time of the day. There's no specific time. There's no specific period of the day where you pick up. There's a shooting, and the most common weapon again that's being used is a firearm. Remember what I just said earlier on? Firearms, and then those are firearms that were the 2017, the 2023, and just a month ago, there were firearms extracted by the same police that were distanced from one province to this particular province. So we're now asking ourselves, is there possibly a sinister force operating within the Western Cape, in particular the Cape Flats? And when we say that, we then push it to say that there seems to be no political will to deal and curb with crime decisively.
Sure. AB, this is scary. This is scary. Now, I know that you mentioned the guns that were stolen. We're not going to mention names for the sake of, not disclosing people's privacy. but I remember quite clearly about that. These are alarming things. I didn't even know that, such a lot is happening. I know there's quite a bit happening, but not such a lot. I hear, about this on social media, on the crime chats, and sometimes it's just a lot of propaganda without, a lot of things said without facts. Hence my requesting you to be here tonight, because I trust your input and your knowledge. In fact, your first-hand knowledge that you have concerning these things. So it really shocks me. 700 murders. 700 murders. Wow. How did we get there? How did we get there? What's fueling the recent violence in Cape Town? What is fueling it? Surely there must be something.
I think when we say let's start from this perspective. When we say when we call as the Cape Flats Safety Forum, there needs to be a special probe needs to be set up, like your Madlanga Commission. It's what we call, it's a probe dealing into the institution itself, within SAPS and within the institution itself. We've been calling as the Cape Flats Safety Forum for the past 2 years. A special probe needs to be set up to deal with this gun violence so that we can start zooming in. Yeah. And when we stay zooming in the context of a word to say that we need to be able to determine, is there a sinister force operating? If there is, who's feeding the sinister force and who is supplying this particular sinister force, if there is. And I'm just using the word sinister force in the absence of not dwelling in and for safety reasons, why I'm saying the sinister force. But for us, it clearly illustrates that it could be something else happening. So we also need to take cognizance of the fact that social ills is one of the driving causes that leads youth in particular into that direction to become part of gangs. And when I say the city of two tails, I was unpacking the city of two tails. Remember that most of these areas is what we call, in the absence of the correct word, we were pushed from the leafy areas to the flats through the old apartheid system. So technically what it means is that you would then have people slummed, in the absence of the correct word, where you get households where a 3-bedroom house, for an example, can go throughout Mitchell's Plain. You will get these houses where there's a 3-bedroom house where there's literally 6 to 8 families staying in the same house. And when I say 6 to 8 families, it amounts to 12 to 13 or more people in that small house. So those are the things. Unemployment is one of the driving causes. So when we speak about the negativity, we also need to come with the positives. So from our side as the Cape Flats Safety Forum, if there is, for an example, an hearing of an alleged perpetrator to serious and violent crime, it's good for us to go and say the police this, police that, but what are we doing as community, as civil society? So what we do, we go and oppose bail as civil society. Right. So again, when we need to deal with crime, as we've always been saying, you need to have a multifaceted approach. Yes, it's not the police's responsibility alone. We've got other departments that need to play that pivotal role: education, health, social development. Because what I always say, and you can attest to it, that when we had an open air services, and we specifically had open air services for a particular reason, and the open air services was in the context based. There was a shooting in Pitt Street. We go and have an open air with intention to get that information from the community, because the fact of the matter is that the police in itself, they are good police officers and they are bad ones. They would either trust a pastor, an imam, to give certain information through. So it was a catalyst. It was a catalyst, but in the same vein, yes, the churches or the religious institution need to know what they are doing. But from our side, we need to go there and get the information and also start a healing process. Because as I said, I come from a school of thought. Many years ago, there was no such a thing as Sunday going sitting on a soccer field and go watch Manchester United. Sorry, Manchester United or Liverpool, whatever the club's name is. But I come from that school of thought. I was reared in that particular way, that there's only one Sunday school, church, youth, class, finished, nothing further than that. Not on a soccer field, not at Grand West with the family. Sorry to your listeners if they are doing it, but it was a day identified to have that family sit together. I further come from that school of thought that say, why we have possibly these issues within society. And forgive me if I offend any member or any listener or any viewer. We've moved away from that era where as a family we sit together and have our supper.
Yeah, look,
so
I
that
don't
we
think
can engage.
These are pivotal issues that you are raising here, AB, and I think the moral fiber of society, has been lost. So we've drifted away. I asked a colleague today about something very similar, but I asked him that was something relative to this program here tonight, and because I asked him the question. Remember, there was a huge march a couple of months ago, and the question that I asked was, what difference is a march going to make? There was another huge event held at a stadium in Athlone a couple of weeks ago. What difference? Again, the same question. What difference is that going to make? Because systemic problems is what we are facing right now. We are facing crime and criminality, and nobody's born a criminal. They somehow get influenced, or circumstances forces them somehow, to go that way. Hence, we find, the moral fiber of society just disintegrating, just falling apart, and even families and homes, like you rightly said, homes are packed to capacity with 3-4 families, even sometimes even more, sleeping in every room, even in the toilet as well, and some sleeping in the backyard under a little makeshift veranda type of thing, covering. So we have this problem, and especially in our, I can only speak on behalf of our demographic. I don't know I cannot speak on behalf of that, but I know for sure that there is a huge problem with overpopulation in the Western Cape, with unemployment, and like you said, these things all give rise to crime. But I've been thinking about this for a little while and asked myself the question: look, if I need to go back to where I grew up, I had decisions to make. It was a choice for me to want to not become involved, with that type of thing. But back then, it wasn't as easy. It wasn't so easy, as it is now, to do crime. We know the system did not allow us to. And there were some good things that happened in that old regime. There were some good things that sometimes I wish it would be implemented again, But be that as it may, because my question has always been, what difference are we as the church going to make? What difference can we make? I've been a part of great events. I'm happy that you mentioned the open airs meetings that we had, and we had quite a number of them. Even addressing on a Tuesday morning, addressing the police, officers in the boardroom. Those were and doing walks together, which all I think it helped a lot. It helped a lot, and we were trusted with information. We were trusted with high-level information that we did not, leak out to anyone else, because we understood the confidentiality. And in order for this thing to be eradicated, we could not share just easily, even with those within our own homes. So there was that sort of trust relationship, but that has somehow also just dissolved. I think of the Cape Flats, for example, the gun violence, and you made reference to it, how the amount of guns had disappeared. the proliferation you mentioned of illegal firearms. So this is the kind of stuff that because there is, and we cannot deny the fact, there is a huge amount of illegal guns on the street. They can't find them. They don't know where, because the one is passed. When the gun is used, it's passed to someone else, and that's how the gun just disappears. Sometimes it ends up in the homes of people, and they know about it. So this encourages the criminal or the person that's doing crime to continue in doing, because they are being somehow protected by family members, by friends, neighbors, and so forth. You know, so if I want to speak Afrikaans here, it is a beautiful language we speak here in South Africa, in Cape Town in particular. As a level boss loss, if they need to, just go and tell it out and speak it out, guess what? I'm sure that these guys will think twice of doing that. But having said that, AB, high number of active gangs and strong gang networks are operating in our communities, and what they have done, what they are doing, is they are coming to the aid of people, buying houses. I speak, correct me if I'm wrong, buying houses within a particular community, and then making sure that they can contribute on a monthly or weekly basis to the real needs of the family who are struggling, the families that are struggling. So say they sort of buy their way into the hearts of these people, and when a raid or something has to happen, they don't know, they don't tell you about this Mr. X there on the other side, because he's been kind and good to us. So we know this is happening, AB. We know this is happening for a long time. And again, I'm not going to mention names. I almost did that now, but I need to just watch this here right now, because this is a very sensitive issue. And this is Hope Talk, by the way. This is we are bold and unapologetic. So, yeah, we are going to address these things. We're going to talk about this even at greater detail in the ensuing weeks to come. But this is what we want to do. We want to conscientize, make aware, create more awareness, not only to our constituency, not only to our people in this side of the. We want to make it known to the world, and the world is watching. The world is watching. This will be on YouTube, and we would love for you to watch and to share it, and to maybe even comment. You're welcome to share your comment with us. Maybe Isaac's here with us tonight and sharing his expert knowledge as one of the founders of the Cape Flats Safety Forum, and formerly the Community Police Forum in Mitchell's Plain. So AB, I do value your input tonight, and yes, if there's more that you need to talk to us about tonight, then sir, the floor is yours. The floor is yours, AB. The floor is yours. I trust you as a faithful friend of not only of yesterday, but when we do see each other, it's like we've never ever not seen each other for a long time. I think both of us have grown a little bit older, and I hope that we are a little bit wiser. But I'm really excited to see what you and Cheetah are doing. You guys are doing a great job, you and Lynn, and I hope to have Lynn on the show as well one of these good evenings, because Lynn can also speak into the situation as well. So AB, where is this all going to? Where is this all going to? Where are we headed?
I think when we that's the reason why we're saying that, and I think it's important. Earlier in this week, I've indicated there is a lot of emphasis now currently being placed on the G20. It's good. Let's welcome all the presidents of all the countries that has descended on our shores in South Africa for the past 2 days. That would be here up until I think Sunday evening or Monday. But there's a lot of focus and there's a lot of energy being put into to secure them. Yet just 16,000 kilometers, 16,000 kilometers away from Johannesburg to Cape Town, there are people dying. And there's not that same amount of oomph in terms of security being pumped into that.
Yeah.
The fact that the President of the Republic just 2 weeks announced that he's not going to declare the state of emergency says to me something. And the mere fact is that we are speaking, and it's good that we're having this discussion tonight. And then today, women throughout South Africa came out in their numbers to say no to gender-based violence.
Yes, sir.
Just a month ago, the president, or a year ago, the president had this marvelous meeting spending money. Just yesterday, on the eve of the G20 summit, he then said, let's declare it a national disaster. Why do we have to wait for foreign presidents to come before the president make certain decisions? Why? But here, just in June,
we apologize for the technical glitch there. AB will be back with us very soon. And how useful this information is that he's sharing with us here tonight. You know, there's high level involvement, high level, you know, people with real, we're talking about statesmen here tonight, and how these key people are involved in all of this. And yeah, the G20 is on as we currently speak here tonight. So we're hoping that our president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, would you know, also be able to speak to the situation, and hopefully, besides having a business meeting, we would also be able to address you know, circumstances that we are facing here in Cape Town. So I'm hoping that AB would be back on again. He's just had some connection problems, but hopefully he'll be back soon. So yes, I've played that video for you tonight, and this is what's happening within our communities. Big talks with the acting police minister, and we saw what the outcome of that was, the response of some of the activists, some of the faces I know, and I'm not going to disclose their names tonight because it's important that we do protect our people as well. So there's a lot of other, you know, things that we need to talk about on this program, or on this broadcast, not this broadcast, but on this channel, on Hope Talk, and we're going to address them. And we would love for you just to continue to be a part of what we are doing. We would love to hear from you tonight. I'm hoping that AB would be able to get back with us tonight, so we can continue this conversation. Yeah, let me just see what's happening here. All right. So this is Hope Talk. Let me just see if I can find the other video for you quickly, so that we can see what's happening within our communities. Here we go.
The Western Cape Police Ombudsman, tasked with investigating allegations that police were colluding with gangsters, have handed over their report to the Premier. And it seems to back a judge's findings that gangsters have infiltrated the Western Cape SAPS, influencing some of its members all the way to the top. The judge made these comments in October this year when denying gang members bail in a murder case. ENCA senior reporter Aisha Ismail reports.
I must say I'm really concerned. It is a very, very serious issue. And I think what we're dealing with here is a tip of the iceberg, a small part of a bigger problem. But it also shows that there's high risk in the system.
Western Cape Premier Alan Winde says he's still studying the report carefully and will make it public after consultations. He's also alerted President Cyril Ramaphosa to these findings.
I've really got to apply my mind. It's not about making some political or rash decision based on this report. So I'm busy consulting at the moment. We're studying the report, consulting. I'm meeting with senior police officials. I'm also meeting with people in the judiciary, and even independent people, criminology type people, to try and help advise me on what we need to do.
He hopes to have a concrete plan in a week or so.
Yeah, so that is the video, and we want to hear more of what's happening. We're going to come to you as the stories unfold. We're going to address it and see how we can speak some hope, because this is Hope Talk. We can bring some hope to some of the folk out there, or to a lot of people that need hope. Hope speaks louder than fear. Hope still always was the confident expectation of something great. And I believe that, as a minister of the gospel, I believe that God can make a difference, but he uses people to make that difference. People who are sensitive to him, people who are guided and led by him tonight, and who seeks wisdom from the Lord. If anyone lack wisdom, the Bible says, let him ask of God, who gives generously to all without holding back. And he is the answer. I must say this. It might sound like a cliche tonight, but Jesus has always and still is. He's always been and still is the answer for the crisis that we face within our communities and globally. It's all spinning out of control, but we know that the Bible, the Word of God, does speak about these things that should happen. As these events unfold, and as we see, people running to and fro, and crime increases, and all kinds of corruption is exposed and increases, these are the beginnings, or these are the birth pains, and very soon, that huge event that's spoken about in Scripture, we will probably see it happen within our time. My prayer is for our children and their children and our family members tonight who doesn't know the Lord Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. Jesus still makes reference to this fact. Is in John chapter 14 and verse 6, he says, I am, this is Jesus speaking, he told his disciples, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life, and no man cometh unto the Father. No man, nobody, regardless of who we are, regardless of our status, regardless of how affluent we may be, regardless of how poor we may be, and maybe in between. It doesn't matter who you are, male or female. It really doesn't matter who you are. No man, and I say that respectfully, no man, no one will come to the Father except by him tonight. So the world is in chaos. We know what's happening on the other side of the globe. In the Middle East, lots happening as well. Right here on our own doorstep, great events are happening that's shaking society. And my concern is that it is getting worse. It's not getting any better. And seems like politicians cannot make a change or make a difference in society, as everybody is wanting to make a name for themselves and to become something in this life. Without me, you can and are nothing, says Jesus. So it looks like we have lost AB there, but we will get him back again at another time when he's available. And hopefully we'll have some more join us in this conversation in studio, so that we can, at least bring some direction and speak some hope into this situation tonight. This is broadcasting live from Cape Town, on the Cape Flats tonight, and being privy to what is happening I just drove down the road. And took my son with his little baby girl to to a medical center because she fell off she darted out of the house and fell off the front porch 2 steps down, and we took her to hospital. But as I was sitting in the parking area, I looked at what was happening around me, and that was the very first shopping center that was built here in Mitchell's Plain, where under the old regime it was built. And I was looking at people, how they were going about, their Friday, and sure, just down the road, about less than 100 meters, there was some fighting going on and screaming, and a police van standing not too far away. And this was, sitting in the parking area of the hospital. So there's a lot happening, and I thought it might have been a good idea for me just to have captured what was happening, and then to show you really what is happening within our city. We have a beautiful city, I must say that. We have great people living in the city. We have excellent churches. We have good people. Nobody's born bad. Nobody's born bad, but people choose to do those things. Perhaps circumstances have driven them to it, but I want to say to those folk out there tonight, life is a choice. Everything you do is a choice. You don't have to. If you need to talk to somebody, there's a number on the screen. Give us a call. We will certainly be praying for you. Give us a call on that WhatsApp number that's scrolling across the screen right now. There are 2 numbers. We would love to hear from you. So before I sign off tonight and before I say my goodbyes, I just want to read some of the comments here tonight. Dr. Kyle Gribbe, thank you, Pastor Owen and AB, for bringing light to this issue. Things are going to go from bad to worse, and we need to do something about it. As believers, we need to come together and bring hope. Thank you, Dr. Kyle Gribbe, a very good friend of mine. Thank you for that. We do appreciate your input, and we are hoping that, we'll get people like the doctor himself and AB and some more folk together in this conversation. I believe, that nobody should be excluded from a conversation like that, because what's happening out here in our communities, in our society, in our city affects all of us. All right, this is Owen Hendricks tonight, signing off and saying, God bless you. Stay safe. Keep praying. Jesus loves you. And so do we. God bless. Goodbye until next time.